What's up, everyone? This is your boy Hstlgod, and today we have a great guest. I am sitting here with Walid Azami. How are you doing today, my man?
Good. How are you? Thanks for letting me come in and chat with you today.
No problem. So today we have Walid, and I'm gonna go over quickly what you do, but I'm gonna let you speak for yourself as well. He is a photographer. He's worked with some of the biggest names in entertainment. Let me know if I get some of these people wrong. We have J Lo, we have Bernie Mac, we have Usher, and I also believe we have Kanye West and others. Is that correct?
Yeah. I want to correct one.
Okay.
It's Bernie Sanders,
Oh,
not Bernie Mac.
all right. She's like, no.
No, and I was like, listen. I don't know if you see my little Bernie bobblehead right there. So I was like, no, we gotta correct that one. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of great people like Mariah Carey, Christina Aguilera, Madonna. Um, Madonna was way earlier in my career, so I've been really, really blessed in a lot of ways.
Oh,
But
that's
Bernie
amazing.
Sanders.
So let's just hop right in. How did you get started with your journey as a photographer?
Um, that's such a long story, but let's see what I can abbreviate it to. I was going to be a history teacher, and I was going to be a teacher because, I'm from Afghanistan. I'm a refugee. So, like, your parents always want you to do, like, the safe jobs. And of the safe jobs, this was the one that had probably the most creativity. Like, you don't want me as your doctor. You don't want me as your engineer for whatever thing you're building. Um, So I was like, I guess I'll just be a teacher and I'll just, make everybody happy. But um, I ended up kind of having like a blow up of, about what I'm going to do with my life. And I had extended my 4-year degree into almost 7 years because I kept trying to buy time. So like when I see a lot of people wanting to rush and saying, I should be here by now, I should be there, I'm like, just let it just happen so that you bloom in the best way possible. But let me try to get to this. I got an internship, which led to being an assistant to like a paid job afterwards to Madonna and her manager. So that was like the boot camp of it all. Um, you know, I think that a lot of people have opinions about Madonna that I think are unfair, but like nobody compares to that level of mastery as far as getting things done and everything. I left that job and I thought, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know if I wanted to be an editor, a director, a producer. I had no idea. I knew I wanted to do something creative and I was just trying different things. And the Madonna thing was that she does so many different things that I got to sample a lot, right? And um, I did PAs on set. That wasn't for me either. But somewhere along the way, when I worked with Madonna, her creative director, Jamie King, who's a good friend of mine now, pulled me aside one night and said, let me take you out to dinner. I'm like, I don't really know who you are. I haven't seen you in like 6 months, but I'm gonna go. Like if somebody like that pulls me up. And he said, of all the like the army of assistants that were there, he's like, you were the only one that really paid attention to every single second that you were there. And I knew where I was. Like I basically didn't even have enough money to buy groceries. So like I knew where I was and I was going to soak up every single second of it. And he gave me this whole long thing, which could be its own episode, but he talked about following my instincts. And he said, that's the closest you'll ever be to God or whatever superpower or higher power or whatever you believe in. When you listen to your instincts, that's it. That's a direct line between you and whatever higher source. And it came at the right time, but I didn't understand why he was telling me that at that time. I was more confused and I'm thinking, what is going on, right? So in one night, he broke me and helped rebuild me back up, or at least gave me the tools that I needed. This might annoy a lot of people, but about my finances were going like this. We were just at the birth of that recession that we got, like 2009 2008 recession, and I kept getting this gut feeling, and he made me aware of that feeling, and he said, just listen to it. And I ignored it the first day, and I ignored it the second day, and I ignored it for like a week and a half or 2 more weeks consistently every single day. And I had this gut feeling, buy a camera. But here's the thing, I didn't know what an f-stop was. I didn't know that I didn't even know, by the way, that you could take the lens off the body of this camera and put another lens in. So that's how much I was like a novice in all of this. And I took my last credit card. I had no more money in the bank. I took my last credit card. I went to a camera store and I said, hi, I think I want to be a photographer and I have $2,000. And they sold me down to the last dollar, right? Down to like, are you sure you don't need batteries? I was like, I guess. So I bought everything. And I was tapped out, and the story's going on forever, but I just want to like
Yeah.
set it up. If I can't hear you, by the way, did you talk?
Oh, I think sometimes, you know, you get the call like locks in on one voice just to make sure that people aren't over talking each other. But yeah, I was just saying, keep going. This is great.
Okay, perfect. So thank you. I got basically I was writing on this instinct wave without really knowing what I was doing. And I bought a camera, came with a little kit lens, and that was it. And like one CF card, like literally when you shoot pictures today, I would probably have like 30 pictures and it was 1 gigabyte, you know? And so I kept practicing for like a week and a half or two, and I didn't get, listen, I sucked. Okay, that's the best way to put it. And I got a call from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And they were like, hi, is Walid there? And whenever you say my name like that, I know that you don't know me because it's Walid, that's how you say it. And so even though it's spelled that way, and I said speaking, and they said, hey, I'm calling from this production company. Do you have a video camera? Somebody said you had a video camera. We need somebody on the spot today, like right now. And I was like, sure. I was so excited because I thought that I could, I'm really butchering the story. Like I'm leaving a lot of it out just because of time. But I was like, absolutely, because I thought that I could afford groceries for 1 more month. And what had happened was they said, Usher just fired his videographer. They need one on the spot right now at the Kodak Theater.
Wow.
And I know, right? And so I ran. And they wanted me just for video. But remember, I had just bought a camera for photography. And right as I'm about to close the door, I lived in Orange County at the time. Right as I was about to close the door, and not that part of Orange County, like the Anaheim side of it. You know, like people always think Newport Beach. I'm like, no. And what had happened was right as I was about to close the door, like this much left, that voice that I was learning to listen to spoke to me again and said, get your photography camera. They don't know why you've been hired. Like this has gone through so many steps. And so I got that camera too. And I basically when I got there, I said hello to Usher and stuff and everybody else in the room. I put my video camera on a tripod. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just hit the record button. So that footage looks like security camera because it was on the corner. I was just shooting straight in. And I started shooting with my 1 gig card, okay, at JPEG small by the blessing of God, because I didn't even know any of these settings. So like I could still fit in several hundred pictures because the pictures could only blow up to be this big. And I kept shooting a whole bunch. It was like the most traumatic day because I was faking it through the whole thing. I had on my little BlackBerry Curve. If you want to darken the camera, touch this button. If you want to do this, touch this button, right? And the pictures came out so bad that I would say probably in about 300 to 400 pictures, you could identify that it was Usher in about 15 pictures. Like, talk about a failure rate, right? Excuse me. And then we have the different lights above, the fluorescent lights and everything. And I knew nothing. Listen, if I didn't even know that the lens could attach to the body of the camera, I did not understand kelvins and the light temperatures and everything. And so pictures came out all colors of the rainbow. And I'm like, I don't know and there was like blur and there was super grain because I kept hitting the ISO and everything. It was a disaster. Again, skip a whole bunch. I come home. I don't know what just hit me. I felt like I got hit by a tidal wave. And I got a call from Benny Medina, then Usher's manager, saying, hey, where are those pictures? Again, another little heart attack. And I had basically 30 minutes to figure it out. That voice again came and put me on autopilot and said, you know what? Oh, by the way, I did not even know that Adobe Photoshop existed. Like, Adobe to me was just like this foreign concept. Okay, so when I tell you I didn't know anything, I didn't know anything. But do you have a Mac or you have a PC?
I have a PC.
You have a PC. Well, I guess like on a Mac, but I'm sure PC obviously has its own compatible type of thing. Like if you open a document, what's that called? The preview window or whatever that you can open a document or just one JPEG native to the computer. Basically on a Mac, it's just called the preview. If you open up a document,
Okay.
it doesn't open up in any program. It just opens up within Mac. But you can adjust certain things like the exposure, the contrast, the saturation, pretty much those three. I edited every single picture in that program. I didn't even know Photoshop existed, okay? And that instinct told me, hey, the colors suck, you suck, you're worthless, but make this work and just turn everything black and white. I sent about maybe 12 pictures to him, to his manager in black and white. They were like blurry, they were super grainy, super contrasty, whatever. I got a call in about 30 minutes saying, we don't know what you did. We don't know how you figured it out. But Usher really liked your work, and he's about to do something, Singing in the Rain remake. He loves this old Hollywood vibe, and he wants to know if you'd be open to going on tour with him very soon as his personal photographer. That's how my photography career started.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, this is where I say it'll annoy a lot of people. I lived for about 2 years on the verge of a heart attack every single night. But I'm gonna let you ask some more questions. I can get into that, but I stole the whole stage for about 20 minutes straight.
Oh no, I just loved listening to your story, and thank you for sharing it. There's so many gems that you just dropped, from being willing to be an intern and show up, and while you're doing your work, you're engaged the entire time to really take advantage of that opportunity. Being able to listen and learn and say yes to go out to meetings that you don't know
Yeah.
what the opportunity is, and you're going to dive in there, listening to your inner voice and learning how to master that, and being prepared for your moment where something inside of you said, I need a camera. You don't know why, but you made it happen. So when your moment came, you were prepared to just give it your best shot. And that's, just from doing a lot of these interviews, there's so many correlations to that.
Is that the underlying theme? Basically, just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thanks.
there's a great quote that says, ready, fire, aim.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, just go, and then you'll figure it out as you are going. And so I would say, what were your biggest, from just going through that experience and that story you just told us, what were your biggest takeaways from that experience, like when you started to look back and like, wow, this is my life now?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, like if I can just say one thing real fast, this is my ego talking, is like to the people that would be listening to this, it was working hard every night till 3 or 4 in the morning, learning new things every single night. So like I didn't just get dropped on Usher's lap. Maybe I did on that one, but something kept me in the room for 2 years. So I just want to that's my ego talking and saying, it's not like mommy and daddy made a phone call for me and whatever, right? Like
You worked
I didn't come from that kind of a privileged family. But as far as my takeaways from that moment, the Madonna moment or the Usher, or I guess both.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I learned, looking at it now, I learned to pause and say, understand, pause and look for the blessing in something. I can definitely say I learned that. So like, when I started with Madonna, I was just like, holy can I cuss? I just almost cussed, but like, Okay.
We
I was
say whatever you want.
like, I was like, holy shit! Like, this is the most famous woman on the planet. Like, this is no, but like you can go to the middle of India, Africa, like South America, whatever, and they know who Madonna, Michael Jackson, those two, you know? And I was like, how did you get here as a refugee from Afghanistan? So like every day I went in with that attitude and I took advantage of the opportunities, right? And I utilized things. I didn't use people, I utilized opportunities to grow. Um, my takeaway also is if anybody is starting brand new and you don't know what you're doing, you're actually in a really cool, privileged position because now that I have a career and I've been so blessed to have worked with these huge cultural people like that, just like they've changed the culture of the world and America and stuff. Now it's more calculated. And I miss the whole being raw about it and saying, I can do it. Now I'm like, okay, what's my budget like? How many people are relying on me to make money so that they can get a check too? And you start thinking like, okay, where's my career? Where do I want to go? There was something really fun about I could do it and then just trying to figure it out on the spot. And so anybody that's starting out in whatever field, that's a really rare moment. And instead of looking at it as like, um, I suck at answering your questions and answering completely different questions, by the way. But anybody that's in that position, though, just understand that it's rare, it's a fleeting moment, and you'll never get that innocence, that innocent moment back. So use it, make the biggest leaps. Nobody knows who you are, so take the biggest jumps, take the biggest risks. You'll fall on your face, you'll get back up, and nobody will remember it, and you'll grow a ton.
Okay. Just to summarize what you just said, it
Yeah.
almost sounds like don't be afraid to be a child again, or embrace it like that, like approaching your craft with those childlike eyes, where it's like you're able to just jump in. You're not thinking about, you know, how things are going to turn out. You're like, I'm gonna just give it my best. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna get back up, and I'm gonna just keep going at it. And that's
Yeah. 100%, 100%. But this is more about the people that are like, I'm starting out. I don't know anybody. I don't know anything. I don't know where to start. For that unique chapter in someone's career, you're actually in a really cool spot. So just pause,
okay.
understand where you're at, and then take the big leap.
Okay, cool. So when you're in that spot in your career, in your opinion, how do you best leverage it? Like, how do you best use that to your advantage when you're just starting out?
Um, hmm. One way to best leverage it is that everything has, like, as you get older, you're like, oh, the metabolism sucks now, but you know more, right? So, and if you're much, much younger, you don't know as much, but you have this energy that you can work 24 hours straight on like 3 cups of coffee. I don't suggest it all the time. And then you sleep for 5 hours and you get back up and do that again the next day. You can't do that as much as you're getting older. So leverage that energy, leverage that opportunities, use that as a leverage for sure, as just one way. The other thing is leverage being new and asking people ahead of you, hey, can you help me because I'm new? Like we met on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that just, like, don't act too big. I see so many people saying I'm a creative director. No, you're not. You're not at all. Because that's something that true creative director happens in your late 40s to 50s. That's like 10, 15 years of solid experience in almost every single lane. And then you can oversee everything, right? So embrace being new, embrace being so new in something that people want to help you, people want to give you a shot, people want to see a younger version of themselves in you. Don't pretend you're bigger than you are. We know that's not true. Like, it sounds awful, but like, I just really got to put that out there. We all know what is like everyone says on the app, the cap on the app, but like everyone knows you're not being honest. So embrace you being new and go with that. Say, hey, like someone to me, okay, I just hired somebody for this commercial off of Clubhouse, actually, Irvin's Room. And I said, So he wrote me a DM and he said, Walid, I'm new to LA. I'm newer to being a PA, right? So he's telling me like how new he is, but he's like, I just want you to know I will work so hard. I will be there before everyone. I will be there when you lock up. I will just, I will work so hard if you just give me a chance. That to me, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna hire you. I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna make sure that you win. I'm gonna make sure that you walk out of today with energy about your future. If someone was to say, hey, I'm a creative director, but I also want to be your PA, I'm like, doesn't match up, you know? So be humble and ask for help. So that's another way to leverage it, is just don't pretend you're bigger than you are. It's a new stage. Embrace it. People want to see you win. They really, really do.
Okay, that's awesome. And so one thing you said at the beginning that, you know, we had a lot to cover real quick, so I wanted to save it for a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I talked a lot.
Is that you said you were a refugee here.
Yeah,
Do you think that like being a, you know, a refugee from Afghanistan played a huge role in like you having experience of having to overcome different circumstances, and that gave you like the drive to really attack your opportunities as they came your way?
100%. 100%. I am the biggest, everybody should get a fair opportunity. So let me just say that. But I am the biggest fan of anybody that climbed up from unique obstacles in their upbringing, or, you know, whatever it might be. I'm going to be your biggest fan in making sure that you win. I think that also struggling makes you stronger. Um, you know, like sometimes people, when I worked with some of the people in certain jobs, people, you could just tell who came from a family that was well-to-do, and, you know, they haven't really seen a hard day, right? You could just see that they would fall apart in certain situations. And I'm like, nope, this is not going to break me. Oh, are we working for, you know, 18 hours straight? That's fine. I'll do it because I understand the big picture. So I think that me being, it sucks for like how hard my parents had to work. That does suck. And how unfair it is sometimes with the racism in this country, and, you know, the classism and all that stuff. But I got to tell you that I think it made me stronger. It made me want to run faster, it made me want to climb higher, because I'm like, I've seen the other side.
Mm.
There are a lot of people have not seen the other side. So, you know, that's my attitude. Like, I've seen how bad it can get.
Oh my God. So it's almost like one of your biggest disadvantages on the surface became your biggest advantage as you were pursuing your career.
Yeah. And that's kind of like where I was talking about like earlier, where somebody is brand new and they might think that that's a disadvantage. No, no, no. Turn that into your advantage. You know, everything is, yeah. So in my case, that was the case, that I've had some hard days. Like, it sucked, you know, but um, my parents just raised us to like, you can't get out of victim mode. Just get out and do something about it.
Oh man, that's so great. That is so great. Thank you for just dropping that on us. And I know you're on a time schedule, so I'm only gonna ask one more question.
Yeah, I mean, you can go a couple more if you wish. Just, I want you to have the interview that you need, but go ahead.
For sure.
Thank you, though.
I want to just hop into now, more of like the technical side of being a photographer, because you
Yeah.
trained photographers as well. Is that correct?
Say that one more time,
I said
please.
you also train photographers as well now. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram account, that, so I have two. One is just my own work, and then one is actually, on the technical aspect of it. Maybe 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, I got so burnt out by this industry and how they treated people, especially people with a little bit of color in our skin. You know, it's just, we got the lower rates and the lesser opportunities and everything. And I understand that there are people that have it a lot worse than me. Black America, I get that, you know, but I saw how unfair it was for my photographers across the board, especially if you were a person of color. So I decided but this was, by the way, open to everybody in all races and everything. I decided, I put my camera down for about 8 months, said no to every job. My career literally kind of went like this. Like when I tell you, it was like crashing so hard, right? And every job that I was doing, I was like, I suck at this. I hate this job. They hate me. Like it was just miserable because I let the industry really, really get to me. This is going to answer your question. So I decided one day, either be a part of the problem or be a part of the solution. And I opened up an account on Instagram where, and it wasn't originally my name. It was an account called How to Photograph. And now I attach my name to it, but I was anonymously helping photographers. And any which way that somebody helped me, or any which way that somebody tried to hold me back, I use every single opportunity without exposing anybody and helping other photographers, so to make sure that other people didn't go through what I had to go through. And so this account just kind of started growing. Like people are like, who is this? And why are you helping us so much? And then like a year and a half, 2 years into it, I attached my name to it. So I do help photographers, and I'm very passionate about all of us like rising up together as creatives and artists. Now I have a master class, and I take basically my whole roadmap of my career for the past 12, 13, 14 years, and I give it to them step by step by step. And so I've had students that now have been published in Harper's Bazaar, Turkey, multiple magazine editorials, book covers. One of them just booked a cosmetic, not a cosmetic, a like eyelash line, and he's flying to LA and he's going to do video and photos. And like, I really hold people's hands because I know how hard it was to start. So yeah, I do teach now too. And that's what's given me the by helping people, I learned to pick my camera back up again and see their joy, like their initial joy that I had as a first-time photographer. And I was like, oh, this can be fun again. But let's just move forward, only dealing with people that are good.
Okay, got you. And the reason why I asked that, because my
Yeah.
follow-up question is, if you want to perfect your craft at photography, what are some of the key things you would want to focus in on to really, quantum leap your skill set and get to the next level?
Okay. Good question. So anybody that wants to get better at photography, number one, really, really, really practice your instincts. Okay. So don't worry about the latest and greatest on cameras and gear. I just bought a camera last week because it was like a Black Friday sale. My camera before that was a 5D Mark II. That camera is 12 years old. It has gone in for like life support repair 3 times. Like, I don't believe in latest and greatest. And so if you are looking to start in photography, or you're running a blog and you're some kind of influencer and you're like, what camera is good enough? Any camera is good enough. And remember that the camera industry relies on you to be insecure to keep selling products. So any camera will do with good lighting, good composition. That's one. Number two, trust your instincts. Your instincts will never, ever, ever lie to you. You'll trip up a few times learning. It's like learning a new, training a muscle or something, right? But trust your instincts. That's how you're going to get that that uniqueness to your brand. And you're going to take some big leaps and bounds and learn to trust that, like really learn to use that again, because we're told to shut it down. Number three, start small. Everybody wants to like buy all these different lights and everything. And I had like this massive warehouse in downtown LA that I rented a studio. It was called 5 Point Studio. I rented to other photographers, and I saw so many photographers come in with like 5 different lights, and I'm like, why? You only need 1 or 2. Less is more. You guys don't spend a lot of money on lighting. Every single light in this world that's around photography is based after the sun that we all have at its different positions. Okay, so learn to use a sun, work smart. Let's see, the other thing is, if you're taking pictures, if you're working with like models or something, I'm just going to spit off a few more. Like if you're working with models, remember that models are generally younger. Remember that that's someone's little boy or little girl. Like they're younger. They came into LA, they came to New York, and you got to sit down and talk to them. I see so many photographers. I was like, yeah, I want this, I want that. And I'm like, that person is 17. What do they know about that? Sit down with them. Learn to humanize your photography. That's how you're going to stand out too. Like eye lines should be the same. Talk to them. Be human. Break down those walls and say, I need this. And if you look at like Rihanna in this video, remember that one scene where she did this? I want that kind of energy. And then as far as like lighting tip, I'll tell you one of the things that taught me lighting the fastest was go into Sephora, go into Ulta or the Nordstrom counter, whatever, when things open back up again, and look into the eyes of the ads. There'll be makeup ads, so there'll be close face. Go in and look at the eyes. They will you'll look at the shadows and look at the lighting. You're like, I wonder how they got that. Look into the eyes and it will tell you exactly what kind of lighting modifier that photographer used. You're like, oh, that was a softbox, that was a parabolic, that was a LED strip or whatever it might be. I learned lighting like that. So 12 years ago, it was harder to do that on the internet. So I would like literally take a magazine with a little magnifying glass and go, okay, how many sides? Okay, that looks like like an octagon or something, or that looks like a softbox. And I would write down, do your homework. That's the other thing. Just look in the eyes and you'll start learning lighting like that. And I don't know, is that enough tips or?
No, that's amazing. And I'm
Okay.
taking the notes right now because I just bought my camera
Oh, you
this.
did? Okay.
So, I've done a couple things, but I'm still like learning myself. So I'm asking for everyone, but I'm also asking selfishly for myself as well.
That's perfect. Yeah. Are
And
you doing photography also, or more for the platform that you're building, or
well,
both?
I bought it initially for, I'm building a media company. So I was like, you can't have a media company and not have like a camera and a video camera.
Yeah.
And so, but once I got it, I'm falling in love with it. I'm falling in love with the craft, and I don't fully know the craft yet. But I'm just shooting with people, who wants to shoot right now, who are in my circle.
Yeah.
My friend just shot a movie, and so I just did some behind the scenes for them, and I'm just shooting wherever I can. So it's a mix.
Okay. That's super cool though. Congrats on the camera. And actually finding something that you love, because how many people have trouble just in that first step, right? Like just something that you're like, this actually makes me happy, you know? Um, Let me give you two more tips on that real fast, because you said you just bought a camera too, and I hope that it helps somebody else. Take whatever, like here's my iPhone, okay? This is one of the ways that I learned. I would take this and I would put it by candlelight. And then I would look at my camera and go, okay, it's very orange. If I was to make it a little bit more natural colored, what would I do? And I start working backwards. And I'm like, is it this? No. Is it this? No. And I'm like, okay, it's the light temperature. And start adjusting. I'm like, oh, I got it. I figured this puzzle out. Work backwards, right? I would take the same phone. It could be an Apple. It could be your keys. It could be anything. Then I will go and put it inside the refrigerator. That's a different kind of light bulb. And I'm like, why doesn't it look like what my eyes see? And I start working the camera backwards. And I will go take it in direct sunlight, indirect sunlight. If you can do that every day, like set a timer and pick one item for 10 minutes, like a speed round. Before you know it, you're going to look at something and go, oh, that's 5200 Kelvin. I'm going to just do this real fast. You'll just get it. It's the weirdest thing, but if you can do that, if people do their homework, that's going to be one of the biggest builders of you as a pro photographer. I see people like, they'll take the light temperature, they'll kind of go like that to the person and stuff. I'm like, I've learned to eyeball it. I'm like, that's what that should be. And I'll just set it, and it's pretty much almost always right there. So 10 minutes a day, you'll grow leaps and bounds. And then always learn, like annoyingly, look at the back of your camera when you're shooting. So if you are shooting for your friend's movie, every 10 shots, 10 seconds, it's annoying. But this is how you become a master in it. Look at the back of your camera and say, would I frame this in my home? If I don't want to frame it in my home, I got to change something, change my angle, walk up closer, walk further back, change my lens, change something. And that's how you also, but it's just about doing your homework. So those two things have, and anything else I shared, have really, really helped give me an edge on my photography. Make
No,
sense?
thank you. And even with like the way my brain works, like how I got started in this entire game was reposting social media. So I've seen a lot of like pictures on, my phone. And so it's like almost like when I'm looking through the lens, sometimes I'm like, okay, this picture is, if it was posted to the like right account, it will get this many likes or that. So it's like really like kind of learning and tinkering with just not being afraid to play around and try to work backwards to get what you want to get, basically.
Yep, exactly that. And it's just, and how much faster have you gotten at that process just by the practice of it?
A lot better. A lot better.
Yeah. So that it's just about that. So I hope that that helps people that are listening, and whatever part of this they see.
So much, so much. And so like I'm gonna end this here because like I know you're a busy man. Thank you for coming in. And before we, sign off, where can people find you? Where can people support you or get in contact with you or just follow you?
Thank you. Well, that's my name right there. So on Instagram, it's at Walid.Azami. And then that's where I help photographers. And then that links to my YouTube channel and podcast and the masterclass and everything else. But on Instagram, it's at Walid.Azami.
Got you. So Instagram's your central hub,
Yeah,
Azami, and then you can find everything else from there.
right. That's it.
Awesome. So thank you for coming in, Walid. And if you ever need anything from us, please let us know. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the time.
All right, you too. Have a great one.